Okay, guys, Q&A time, Friday night, and we're ready to roll. Janet's here, present, and
Present.
and accounted for. By the way, a couple new products on the store page, on the shop page. One is the Taser, the Pulse Plus, and the Strike Light. I'm going to do a video on why I like those products for safety. You guys know I'm a big proponent of personal safety. I do get a very small commission on those, so I hope you will support them. Get one for your wife, get one for yourself. I'm going to talk about the Strike Light, the flashlight with the little stun gun on it, as well as the Pulse, which is like a little pistol which shoots the propellants out. I want you to be safe, because if you're not safe, you're not going to keep paying your monthly membership. Just kidding. Janet rolled her eyes at that. I want you to be safe, seriously. And it's a bad society. There's bad people out there. So that's a really good thing. And I'm also endorsing the Power Blocks, which I got a set during the pandemic, and honest to God, they saved my life. They saved me from radical depression and kept me in shape. So I get a very small commission on them too. But all the products you see on the page are only things I use and believe in. So get them from there, as well as the vests are now on the page. We got a little stock in. So, and Janet wore her to agility today, and her agility teacher loved it. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Members Ask Me Anything. January the 14th, 2022.
2022.
Adam says, how do I properly correct my dog for scratching on the door? I work from home and will work with the door closed to keep the noise out from the rest of the house, of kids, etc. The dog just wants to come in and see where I am, but it's damaging the paint on the door. My older 4-year-old lab would sit by the door and make a soft wiper to be let in. We just got a rescue dog, 1.5-year-old pit shepherd, who will scratch. Love all your videos. They have been so helpful.
You know, you can start by putting a little place bed near there, and and maybe you can put a little bell on there and teach the dog. During the bell, Jan loves cookie bells. She calls it cookie bell, but you teach the dog. He hits the bell, he gets to come inside. Now, the other thing I would advocate doing, we have the same issue outside. Dwayne was, when he was really young, he got excited and did it. So it's always one of those things. It's not a big deal as long as the dog doesn't go radical on it. What I would consider doing, if you have a solid door, is go to the hardware store and get yourself what we call a kick plate. And it's a piece of metal. It's usually just the width of the door, and maybe about 10 inches, 12 inches high. And the dog won't be able to scratch that as much. So it'll protect your door. So it's put on with like 10 screws. I would definitely suggest that, because once the dog gets used to it, they'll just dig all the way through the door, and then it starts to get into a festering habit. So I would do both. I would teach the dog, there's your place command, this is where you're going to stay. Here's a little cookie bell. You can ring the bell when you want to come in, and you can let the dog in or out, or however, as you see fit. And the third thing is I would definitely do the kick plate.
Okay, good. Nick says, hey, Robert, my 17-month English Cocker is highly motivated with food for training, which is a good thing, except when I'm trying to eat. Sometimes I put him in a crate, and eventually he settles. Now I have a platform that I'm trying to teach him the place down commands while I eat. I give him treats if he stays on the platform, but he breaks the commands several times before he figures to stay. Is it better to make corrections when he breaks the stay, or just give treats if he holds the stay? Thanks.
Corrections for not holding it. Yeah, because if you're feeding him, usually, as you know, in my system, when I feed when the exercise is done, I don't use as many intermittent rewards. Only during initial phases of luring. I'm not a big fan of over rewarding the dog, because I think it devalues the reward, and it also makes the dog work just for that reward, and then they'll start to be pushy and start to offer up another behavior, another one. So once you get the behavior, I would have the dog down, have him down, and pick a time. Like, let's see if he's 17 months old and you've been doing it for a while, see if you can get him to hold 5 minutes, and he should. If he gets up, no, back on the line, back on there, down. And then jackpot him at the end, right? Make it a big event as opposed to a minimal event. And he might think, well, if I just come over to you, I get a treat over here. You're here. So yeah, for sure. Correct. And once the dog knows the place command, now you got to correct him into it. You can't keep bribing him.
Okay. OLDSAP Charlie.
Good old Charlie.
Charlie, I hope I don't botch this. I'm going to try my best.
Well, you don't want to botch it, or Charlie doesn't want to botch it?
No, I don't want to botch it.
No, you're not going to botch it.
Namebug Nga Aldao. That's our dialect for good day.
Oh, Nangbag Agdal Bagday. Close, not even close. Sorry.
Naimbag Nga
Enga.
Aldao.
Aldao. Okay.
Okay, Robert and Janet. That's good day. Good day, Charlie. During our walks, my 2-year-old Mal usually reaches the end of the leash, doesn't really pull, but leash is stretched out with just a little tension. I correct when I feel it's too much with a pop, or I do a 180 or stop walking. He's very wise to this. He's a Malinois. He can sense the point where I will correct him and tries not to go beyond it. Do I correct him for this behavior? If so, how do I go about doing it? Dios te agangina.
God bless you.
God bless.
Dios de agagino to you too. So here's what I would do. You're going to need to outthink the dog. So he's pushing the limits. And I've got a video that, I think it's actually the video that's on the member section I just dropped on Wednesday, where it talks about that your dog's going to walk at the end of any leash you have. So what you want to do, especially with a Malinois, you want to correct him to get him into a pocket. And that pocket should be, his tail should never be completely in front of you, and his head should never be completely behind you. You're going to sneeze? Okay. She's yawning. Yeah, I thought you were going to sneeze. So you know, I don't really like dogs, and there are leaders and there are laggers, and both my dogs are leaders. Jimmy's a lagger, and Dwayne kind of ponders between the two. Silly was a lagger. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't mean, I don't mean lagger like a sloucher. Laggers are dogs that walk behind you, and there are dogs who walk in front of you. Dogs that walk behind you are very content, right? They're very kind of, okay, everything is perfect. And that's how Jimmy's personality is. Jimmy's just okay with everything. Goofy and Maya are like, they got to be in the middle of everything. They got to be right in the front. And Maya is not as bad when she's not with Goofy. So yeah, I would for sure correct the dog back. Hey, pay attention. And start to get the dog, especially at this 2-year-old window, you don't have much time. You want to do it between now and like 3 years that the dog figures out to walk next to you. In other words, you should at any time be able to tap the dog with your, not that you're going to, but he should be in a place where you can tap either his butt with your knee or his shoulder with your knee. That's the pocket you want him in.
Okay, Irene says my 13-month Anatolian is not a big jumper, but at random moments will jump on me. It's not something I can predict, so I'm never ready to correct him or anything. I've seen methods like putting your knee up, which works for my 45-pound dog, but my Anatolian is my height when he jumps and my knee does nothing. Is this just something he will grow out of since he's still young, or can I do anything about it?
I would have him drag a leash and in the house, especially because that's probably where he's doing it the most. Just drag some, as long as it's not around your other dog, and just get in the habit. I've done a couple of, I don't think I posted a lot of those videos yet. I've got so many videos that I've shot. I've been in this in like content production frenzy. I have several videos that I show that in, and I've been doing it with Max. That what I try to do is when the dog is excited, I walk up to the dog and I, as quickly as possible, get onto that leash so that when they jump, it auto-corrects them. And that's really what I have found to be the most humane and easiest way to teach him to stop jumping. But more than likely, he'll stop as long as you don't engage him. And especially an Anatolian, it's just a big dog, and you're not really going to get to squash that. So you need to I would step on a leash. Definitely get a leash and step on it.
Okay, DDY says 6-month-old German Shepherd dog will rush to the fence and bark, demand play, when she hears my next door's old fearful male beagle is out. Lila listens well till this moment. I tried to get in between them by the fence and ask her, leave it, but she ignores my command and runs to the other side of the fence and keeps barking, demanding. She will keep barking at other dogs during our walk in the park. How do I correct this behavior?
Well, you're going to need to come down on the dog. This is one of those situations where you need to be stronger than the drive of the dog. Okay, so first of all, I never advocate getting between you and the other dog. I detest when people teach it. I detest when people do it, because you're putting yourself in a position to either get scratched, bit, slobbered on, or knocked over, because your dog's job is to come back to you. It's not your job to get in front of your dog. Your dog hears you, your dog smells you, your dog knows where you are. So you need to be stronger than that dog's drive. It's not an easy task, especially if you've got a big dog, but it's not fair to your neighbor's beagle. Not fair at all. It's not cool. So I would have a line on the dog, or I'd put an e-collar on the dog, and I would tell the dog, no, here, or whatever your command is, and then I would correct him, and that's it. As simple as that. As far as on your walks, you need to control the dog. You need to, because the dog is doing this behavior at your fence line, on a walk, and different things. I'm not trying to bust your chops on it, but the reason you're here is to hear the truth. And the truth is that's not a very nice behavior, and it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better, and you're going to hate yourself in the long run because it's going to be annoying. So hunker down. You're going to need to be a little harsh with your dog, and you're going to need to correct the dog, whether it's on an e-collar or a regular collar. It's not acceptable. And you know what's even worse about the whole situation? And again, I'm not criticizing you personally. Thank God you did make the question because it's going to help other people. The worst part of the situation is that you ask your dog to do something and he's not doing it. So he's learning disobedience by doing that. And unless you can stop that disobedience, that's what's going to continue. And you're building more drive in the dog. So
Would you recommend any kind of barrier there if the neighbor would cooperate with that?
You can, but the dog's still going to smell and hear the dog through it. Remember, sight is your dog's weakest sense. So by obstructing the visual, you're really not doing much. It's a little bit less, but you still have the dog's going to hear that dog going by or smell him back, then he's going to do it. I mean, a lot of times what some people will do is just put a second barrier in front of that fence to keep the, or put the dog in another part of it. But you still have the same issue. Your dog's still doing it on a walk. You need to teach the dog, and I would do it through positive association. I would teach the dog whether the e-collar, whatever, positive, pay, negative, positive, back and forth like I do. Watch all the videos. And I got another one coming up in a few months with Joey and his Akita. And then I would demand obedience. You have a right to demand obedience. It's not like you're demanding the dog to jump through a fiery hoop. You're asking the dog to listen to you, and you're demanding the dog to listen to you because if he doesn't listen to you, he's going to get in trouble.
Okay, Michael M. says, I watched your YouTube video on luring. My German Shepherd dog is now 15 weeks old, and I didn't do a very good job with luring early.
15 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not done. You got plenty of time.
Yeah, he's got a baby.
Yeah, you're fine.
Her food drive is not very high. How can I increase her food drive? Is it just a matter of fasting her more often and serving less at mealtime? I searched the frequently asked questions, but didn't find anything relative. Thanks for all the great resources you provide.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I've probably covered it in different ways. So here's what I would do. First of all, always train your dog just before feeding. If he's 15, 17 weeks old, not a big issue. Zero issue at all. In fact, some people don't even start training until 6 months. So you have no problem with that. I don't advocate it, but people do it. So if you're training the dog just before feeding time, you know the dog's going to be hungry. You can use some of the dog's food for the luring and just go about it that way. And you might want to cut down a little bit on your meals. I mean, you really want a dog to, all our dogs will never leave a crumb in the bowl. If they do, then we would be seriously worried. And they're all in great shape. They're all happy. They're all loved. They all sleep in bed with us. They all have a really amazing life. But we don't love our dogs through food. We love our dogs through love and structure. So that's what you want to do with your pup.
But you love me through food.
I love Janet through chocolate.
Chocolate. Not for dogs.
No, chocolate's not for dogs, only for your wife, if you really love her.
Okay, Sandra or Sandra. Sandra,
yeah, I
Sandra.
never know. I think it's S-O, it's Sandra, S-A, it's
okay,
Sandra.
Sandra then. Sandra A. I have a wonderful, dominant, independent, hard to motivate, 7-month male Shiba Inu puppy.
Asian dogs.
Thanks to you, his training is going great, and we are building a good relationship. We love taking long walks, and he is doing good with the loose leash training.
Great.
Lately, he has started whining and leaking when he wants to sniff and mark his favorite spots, and I don't stop, or when he waits for a release command when he is in a sit before sniffing. I've pretended not to notice. Is this wrong?
No,
How should I handle this best?
No, you're doing exactly the perfect thing. Asian dogs, I have this conversation constantly, and it's just one of those things where I can be like, xenophobic, because I know Asian dogs, Chows, Shar-Peis, Shiba Inus, Akitas, they're notoriously very aloof dogs. They're just very independent dogs. Max is the perfect example of that, the Akita. I've done all the conditioning as a young pup, and he still has these aloof behaviors where you have to kind of force him into it. If he's leaking, it's not a bad thing. Don't make an issue of it. The worst thing people do with dogs with leaking is they say, quiet, knock it off, or correct the dog and stuff. And that just makes it worse. So yeah, you're doing the right thing. You ignore it. When the dog finally stops, good, let's go. The less energy you give to it, the more likely, if it's going to go away, that it will go away.
There are two Shiba Inus in agility that are the cutest things in the world.
They're adorable.
And they do great at agility. I have
Yeah.
to say, their owners have the patience of a saint, but they've worked those dogs so beautifully. And I believe they both went to the invitationals this
Wow.
year.
Well, I mean, I don't think many Shiba Inus are doing agility.
Yeah. No,
I think it's a tough dog. And again, the Asian dogs, you know, the Shar-Pei. I had two Shar-Pei. I love Shar-Pei. The Akita Max is one of the most beautiful dogs you can imagine. I mean, even Pat said the other day, she has the problem with that dog is he's really handsome and beautiful.
he's beautiful.
He's a gorgeous dog. And the Asian dogs are gorgeous, from the Shiba Inus to the Akitas to the Chows. They're all beautiful dogs, but they're stubborn. That's it. Just like Malinois are not necessarily always beautiful. Some are, but they're just very high drive. So, you know, you just pick your poison. That's just the way they were bred.
Okay. Emil.
That is not the same Emil.
No, I don't think it could
Because
be.
Emil can't type yet.
The Emil we know is
Emil's-
only 4 months old,
Yeah,
but his name is Emil.
but we love Emil.
Okay, Emil's, this is 15-year-old Labrador.
Oh my God, we
I
love
know.
him already.
I know. He has slowly developed a fear from riding in the car over the past several years. His tail tucked as soon as the car moves, and he's not comfortable enough to lay down.
Oh boy.
Poor guy. Reluctantly follows my command to get in the car. What a sweetheart.
That's a lab for you.
Yeah. I've tried treats and very short rides to places he likes, like the dog park, and that hasn't helped. Number 1, several methods on how to overcome this. Number 2, soon we'll be bringing a 2-month-old Malinois home. Will he pick up the fear of riding in the car if he rides with my lab in the car?
No. A couple of things you can do. One thing I always think, and I don't know what your car setup is like, if you have a station wagon, if you have an SUV or something like that, the back seats are always hard. So it might be hard for him to stand up. He's 15. So he might be afraid to lie down, that he can't get up. So dogs, like if they're afraid of something, they're going to stand because it's putting them in the strongest defense mode. So if you can kind of maybe build a little platform in there and put a little like non-slip stuff on there,
Little carpet or something?
little carpet or something to make it a little bit more comfortable for him to stand on, is what I would do. But you know, I mean, he's a 15-year-old dog. You have to really respect and honor and love that, and don't. I wouldn't stress him out. I really wouldn't. I mean, when the dogs get older, they're in their sweetest, golden, perfect years. Don't make it hard on him. Don't make him do stuff he doesn't want to do. Not at 15. It's not cool. What I would suggest you try to do, I mean, is especially with the Malinois, you're going to want to crate that dog in the car because he's going to chew up your seats or whatever you have. If you have a station wagon or an SUV or something like that, get a crate. Put him in a crate. It's going to, even if you don't put him in a crate, get a divider. You know, you can get up for the regular car, like they go behind the front seat so he doesn't come sailing into the front. Because a Malinois, while you're driving, sailing to the front can hurt themselves immensely and also hurt you. I would be really cautious on having the Malinois and the older dog in the same area when you're in a car, especially because the Malinois is going to want to play, and it's going to be hard on your older dog. So really structure their time together, because this Malinois could be the best thing to happen to your Labrador or the worst. And I'm saying that because I love old dogs and I love Malinois. You all know that. So, but putting them together, you just want to be fair to your old dog and you want to be fair to your Malinois. You don't want your Malinois to have a bad experience, and you don't want your old dog to have a bad experience in his last golden years. So give them a lot of time apart. Let them play together. They're going to have a great time. But the Malinois' energy is going to be a lot for a 15-year-old lab. I'm telling you that right now. So my advice is figure out some kind of Google it, go to YouTube, and just figure out how to make a little stand for the back of your car. I don't know what kind of car you have, but create something that fits into the back seat so he can't fall down and hurt himself. Carpet it and let him lay on there. Make it super comfortable, and figure out a way that you can transport your dog, and maybe just put a divider down the middle and have Malinois on one side and the dog on the other side. I mean, be creative. And you can make all this stuff, you know, Home Depot, seriously, you know, $50, you could probably make the whole thing. But be creative on this one, because I really want you to take care of your 15-year-old dog, and I want you to give the best shot to your Malinois puppy.
Okay, good. Matt says, I am wondering if you have made a video, or even better, a Word document that guidelines the behaviors people should follow when meeting my puppy during the critical socialization time. I saw one video that said to make sure to pick people who are good with dogs, and then there was a clip of a guy sitting in the grass holding a puppy by its armpits, waving his tongue in the puppy's face with a big red X through it. But you didn't show the proper behavior.
Well,
I just love that Matt is really considering this. This
I think
is
we should.
so
I think I
awesome.
should put together a post about that. I'm gonna. Let's remember that when we're done. I'm gonna do that. It's a great idea. So let me just give you a couple quick tips. One, structure. Your dog should be more with you than with other people. It doesn't need to meet everybody. That's a problem people do. When people meet your dog, they can let the puppy sniff the back of their hand. They can greet them. They can pet them once or twice. Call your puppy back to you. Give your puppy abundant treats. Nobody needs to be your puppy's friend except for you. That's the number one most important thing. I don't let other people pick up my puppy because if they drop them, it's a disaster. I don't let them get too close to the face because the puppy's going to nip at them. That's a bad thing. I don't let anybody give my puppy treats. Or I don't let anybody give my dog treats. Today we were at a restaurant. Somebody said, a sweetest man said, can we give your dog a treat, some of my dog's food? And I said, actually, my dog's on a very special diet. Because I wanted to be a gentleman, be nice to this gentleman who was being so kind to our dog. But Jan and I are both the same way, and independently so. Not that she got it from me, but neither one of us likes people to engage with our dog. My dog is super friendly with anybody if I allow it because of the way I structured it, that he only met good people, he only met a few people, and all those people were positive experiences. So that's my suggestion to you, but I'll put together a little lesson for that. I think it's a great idea.
Well, good for you, Matt, for thinking ahead.
Yeah, excellent.
I love it.
It's one of the best questions we've had ever.
Okay, YEHUDA says, what is the best way to handle barking from excitement?
Ignore it. You can put it on cue if you want. You can, but you're not going to stop it by telling the dog to stop, because remember, the dog's excited. The last thing you want to do with a dog that's excited and happy and is barking because of that is put pressure on him to stop being happy and excited. Like, why would you tell somebody to stop being happy? Right? We just had this discussion before. It's a funny joke we got. I don't want to do it. It'll make me look weird. Don't squash the drive of the dog. Channel the drive. So channel it from there to, like, the dog's barking and doing whatever. Sit, and then when the dog's sitting, he's not going to bark. And the minute he sits, reward him. Down, good. Here, throw a ball for him. Put obedience into it, but remember, it's excitement and it's happy, and countering that with negativity is just the wrong message for your dog, because then your dog's not going to want to be happy. He's going to think he's going to get in trouble for being happy.
Okay, this next question is of grave concern to me.
Oh boy,
I feel like it's my responsibility.
Okay.
Mary says, it seems my question was missed. It was not on the video, just released as I expected. Or was it just not selected? If unselected...
By the way, they're never not selected, Mary. Don't think that. So for some reason...
Because Alan picks them all, right?
Alan picks every single question. In fact, sometimes he picks the same question twice.
Okay, but Alan has been a little under the weather.
Alan's been under the weather.
Might have slipped through the cracks.
Could have happened. So if it did, Mary, apologies. Let's get to it.
Well, if unselected, do those questions receive an answer the following week? I tried to post in the forum, but then I didn't see my post. I'm having trouble navigating, or is there some other issue?
Well, there is no issue, but if you send an email to info, I-N-F-O, at robertcabral.com, Alan will get that, and he will look at it. But looking at this, Alan should have read that question. Alan should have read that and responded to. So I am hoping he did, but I'm going to check with him. But submit your question again. There is no selection of questions at this point, at least. We have a lot of members, and we get a lot of questions, and I spend a lot of time doing them. So I can promise you I have never passed over a question in the entire time we've been doing this.
Okay, Mary, I'm going to make a point that when I see your question pop up, we're going to make sure.
Well, we always do. There's nothing to make sure. We always do. We answer every question. But Alan's been very ill.
Yeah, he's been under the weather.
Very under the weather. So he could have missed it. So I'll get with him on it.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get to it.
We're going to look at it.
Okay. Lacey says, I have an 8-week-old puppy. She's so lucky to have a puppy.
I got to talk to you about that.
She is still getting used to the crate. I'm putting treats in there and training her to go in, shutting the door, etc. She's still not comfortable in it. What should I do with my puppy at night? Should I let her sleep out of the crate or put her in it and have her whine it all night?
Whine.
She's not going to whine all night. You
You
think they're
think
going
she's going to
to,
sign
yeah.
up. Yeah, you think she's going to, but she's going to get tired. At some point, she's going to get tired, and she's going to go to bed, and she's going to fall asleep. And in 4 hours or so, wake up, take her outside the potty, put her back in there. She's going to whine for 20 minutes or an hour, and it's going to seem like it's for 4 hours, but it's not. And this is just what you got to go through. This is just having a puppy.
I think every new mom goes through this.
Yeah, for sure. You know.
And maybe a little cover on the crate will help the puppy settle down.
Play some sleep sounds, on your Amazon Alexa.
Okay. Kim P says, I have an almost 1-year-old Mal who has recently started to poo in the kennel at night. I make sure he gets plenty of mental, physical stimulation throughout the day and has safe toys in his crate. However, only during bedtime will he gladly go in. A couple of short hours later, I'll wake up to poo. I take him out before bed and do quick exercises playtime. I haven't changed his food and have cut back on treats. We have a pretty good schedule. He just threw the wrench in the last few days. He will wait till I notice and go out to clean up. I have said, this is bad, taken him for a walk, separate time, or just cleaned it up, taken him out and go back to bed. I guess my big question is, what do you think is causing this, and what's a proper correction? I'd never hit him or rub his nose in, not saying you'd ever suggest that. I try to keep a neutral response so he isn't rewarded with any behavior in case he's doing it for attention. Thank you so much for your time and knowledge.
Well, so how old is he?
1 year.
Oh, 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
bizarre. I thought he was younger.
yeah.
Well, I mean, much to my chagrin, sometimes Maya has accidents in the house. I mean, it's not. Maya's 11 years old. I have a certain pattern that I wait till just before I'm about to go to bed, and I take Maya for a quick walk around the block. And there's no playing games or anything like that. I don't do any training anywhere near bedtime. No games, no running around, no playing, nothing.
That kind of stirs them up.
Yeah, it can stir them up. If you haven't changed the food or added treats or anything like that, I don't know if there's something in your house making the dog nervous or something else changed, somebody new is visiting or whatever. But the easiest way is to get it consistent. If the dog makes a mess, I just kind of look at the dog and go, ugh, and I just pick it up and I put it away. I don't say naughty dog, bad dog, good dog, or you okay. I don't do anything like that. Just clean it up and let it be. And then I try to analyze when I'm feeding, when they got their last food. I mean, we feed our dogs meals early in the morning, like between 7 and 9, depending on what our schedule. And sometimes Dwayne gets his food earlier because Janet runs out and does a lot of training with him. But my dogs generally eat between, I'd say 7 and 9, depending on my workout schedule. And then they eat again at between 3:30 and 4:30, and we go to bed by like 8 o'clock. So it's embarrassing. I think I'd be a party guy. We're not. We're the most boring people on the planet. So, but yeah, for sure. I mean, the dogs can go in the backyard, and if I take Maya around the block and she didn't do anything, then I bring her down to the backyard with the other dogs, where she sometimes feels more compelled to do it. But don't make a big deal of it. Just kind of look at your schedules, look at your patterns and everything, but no playing before bedtime. That's the one thing I would strike.
Well, good luck on that one.
Yeah.
That could be aggravating.
Yeah.
It's probably going to take care of itself.
It'll work its way out, yeah.
Okay, Kimbra M says, hi, Robert. We have a 10-year-old fear-aggressive female Aussie Collie mix. She has attacked several dogs and almost attacked 2 puppies out of fear when they got in her face, or she thinks they are trying to attack her. She's the sweetest family dog, getting old, lost a lot of teeth, wants to play with other dogs, but she doesn't know how or lacks the confidence. We live in San Diego and need someone to help us prepare her and us. Talking to Man Canine right now. Or how do we help her accept the puppy safely?
So they're getting a puppy.
You know, I have to reread this because I don't see where it says they're getting a puppy, but that's how it says.
Yeah.
We have a 10-year-old.
Yeah, it sounds like she's talking about getting the puppy.
Yeah.
Well, here, how old is 10-year-old?
10-year-old.
Couple of things. I don't know who you're talking about, the other trainer. I don't know him, and I don't make it a habit to say anything about other trainers, period. My suggestion would be, if you're going to get a puppy, is to not let your dog, who's fearful, interact with this puppy at all or until you're 100% sure. Because it's not hard to keep 2 dogs apart at a 10-year-old dog, especially if she doesn't sound like there could be something going on more with her. And I hate to say that. the few times that I've had that feeling with what you're talking about, this kind of crazy aggression for no real reason, there have been brain issues, you know, some kind of, so that is something that I'm not saying you should check it out, but I'm not saying you shouldn't check it out. Think about that. But I would definitely not put the puppy in the mix to have a horrible experience, because you're stuck with this dog. And I wouldn't let dogs go near. She doesn't want to play. I can tell you that right now. She doesn't want to play. You might think she wants to play, but she can't handle it. So there's a certain level at which that play turns into her being completely fearful, and she's going to attack another dog. So my desire for you to keep your dog for every single day your dog should be alive is, don't let your dog play with don't let him meet any other people. I mean, other dogs. Just let your dog be a dog. Love your dog. You play with your dog. You train your dog. You give your dog all the love you can, but do not put this dog in a situation to meet other dogs or puppies, because it's going to mess her up and it's going to mess up the other dogs, and it's really not fair.
This is a tough question, because on one hand, you want this 10-year-old dog to have a happy life.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounds like that dog would be happiest being an only dog.
Yeah.
Not having puppies in its face.
Yeah.
But I understand wanting to get a new puppy.
Yeah. And I mean, I applaud you for asking the question and being here where you're going to get good advice. And again, my thing is just, I'm just not going to sugarcoat things. If I had a dog like that, I understand your desire to get another puppy. You're not in the wrong for that. You would be in the wrong to subject your puppy to this, and your older dog to this. They can be fine, just don't let them be together. I mean, I don't know how long this dog has, hopefully a very long time, but you can keep the puppy can be in a crate for at least a year. You know, I mean, you can put the puppy in a crate and put the older dog is going to want downtime. So the older dog can go in another room and just chill out, and you can do that. And probably after a year or so of being together, you're not going to have a problem. You're going to get used to each other. It's probably just a strange factor, but that's what I would do. I would set it. It's going to be 365 days, and it's going to be a long ride, but you're going to do a lot of structured training. You're going to let her see this dog see the other puppy in a crate. You're going to put her in another room and train this puppy so it doesn't go running up to her, and structure. Because, and I know you can do it. It's not rocket science, but it's going to take some dedication to make it happen. Do not let the dog just willy-nilly play with any dogs, including your dog. And I would say your dog for at least 6 months.
Okay, good. Well, that is it for
That's
questions.
it.
Yep,
okay, well, guys, these are getting longer and longer. 32 minutes. That's a long one. So the reason I say long, not because I mind doing it. I love doing the questions. I know Janet does too. When I say it's long, it's you got to wait a long time to get to your question. So anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you on Tuesday for the next live, the next Q&A. Live is on the 25th, by the way. Thank you.